Hey gang, this is John, and I'm out in one of my favorite spots, and I thought I'd do a quick video on some tips for the beginner with the bow drill. Stay tuned. Well, it's hot, and I've just walked 2 miles with 35 pounds on my back. I want to clarify something. Because when you go out in the woods on a day hike and you know you're just going to go for a day, you don't carry the kitchen sink with you, and what you'll see sometimes coming out of my pack is something that you normally would not carry. But literally every single time I come out, I'm coming out primarily for exercise, so that's why I carry 35 pounds or so on my back. Usually, sometimes it's more than that. But my wife and I, when we are going backpacking or out exercising, we always load up our packs and carry the most amount of weight that we can possibly carry, so that we'll get the best workout. And someday I'd also like to hike the Appalachian Trail if I live long enough, and so I'll be carrying considerably more than 35 pounds if I do that. With that being said, I just wanted to, this is something for beginners that I wanted to put together because sometimes beginners are having trouble getting a coal, and the way, well, I was out with some young people, some scouts, and one of my buddies, his name is Keith Oliver. He's a phenomenal outdoor survival skills instructor who mostly works with children, scouts, and that whatnot. And he showed me this bow for the bow drill, and so I made one. I think he might have gotten the idea from I think it's survivalschool.com. They're a couple of guys from Columbus, Ohio, and he had told me that that's a really good site, so he might have gotten this from there, because I thought I saw one in there, one of their videos. But anyway, I put this together, and what it's made out of is a piece of oak molding that you'd get at Lowe's or any home improvement store, and the molding shape is called cove, C-O-V-E, and basically all you have to do is just kind of round off the corners, and you know, you obviously cut it because it comes in 8-foot sections, and more or less give it a blunted point on one end and blunt it off the other end. Then on this end where you hold it, you want to shave it down even more so it's a little more comfortable for your hand. And then on the back you just flatten out this is like a 90-degree. You file it down to where it's flat on both ends and drill a hole that paracord would easily pass through, but you don't want it too big. And then you put a figure-8 knot in the one end after you pass it through. This is the tip end. And then what I did on the, I didn't see what he had done, but what I did on mine is I actually tied a taut line hitch in it so that I can adjust it by just sliding the knot up and down to make it looser or tighter. But I thought this was a phenomenal idea, and the reason that he said that was good, and I have concluded the same thing, is because the straight bow you have a lot more control because the spindle is right up against it, and since the spindle's on the outside of the string, it's not like grinding on it or anything. But if it would happen to touch, because of the shape of this, it's only 2 small point contacts. So and I thought it looked kind of cool too. It's also easier to carry. You can make them shorter. This one's pretty long, but I wanted to make my first one to be extra long so as I could always cut it off. But that's just a tip. You got a lot more control with a straight bow And this is something that is easily made, and I've got the same bow that I started with, you know, I guess almost a year ago, and I've always kept that. And so the bow is one of the things that you don't keep recreating, same as your fire set typically, but the fire set gets consumed but the bow doesn't. So I thought I would also give you another tip on one of my favorite woods, and that is basswood. The spindle, I have just a basswood stick, and all I did was just carve off the end. I didn't even take the bark off the middle of it. And this piece of wood is only a couple of days old. So, and I actually haven't experimented with it. I actually think that I could cut a stick from a live tree and make a fire with it. Let's go look and see how we can identify the basswood. Okay, I came upon a tree, and this tree right here is a basswood. It's pretty big. Normally, when you see one, it's small, and the small trees have light gray, fairly smooth bark. But the distinctive feature of basswood is its large heart-shaped leaves. And I'll see if I can find, well, I'll show you up here. It's a lot easier for me just to show you one. There's one, and you see the reference with my hand, and that's not even as a giant one. They get even bigger. Here's a piece of a big one. But you can see the width of that, how large they are. So it's a giant heart-shaped leaf, and they're not quite as big as a catalpa tree leaf, but they're very large. The wood is really lightweight, so that's another tip-off. If you pick up a piece of basswood, it feels like it's balsa. All right, it's so hot out, I'm not going to make a fire, but I'll make an ember for you and show you how nice this straight bow happens to work. Piece of basswood. This is my basswood hearth. And I'm using my trusty mule deer antler bearing block. So with this, you just try it and see if it's the right fit. That can be tighter. Okay, wrap up the string. Remember posture. Okay, see the 90-degree angle here? And where I've got my spindle, where I put my foot on the hearthboard, right inside the center of my foot, puts the spindle right perfect in line with my shin. So I'm locked in and it's straight up and down. Now I get complete control because it's not a bowed string, a bow that's curved. You've just got the string that's going back and forth. Okay, getting the thing filled up. Once it stops squeaking, you can tell it's starting to heat up. Basswood works so well that there's been a lot of times when my hearthboard had an ember on it also. So the hearthboard actually started on fire. as you can see, I got an ember. Alright, gang. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. God bless. I got another little tip for you. And I doubt if this is something that might never ever happen, but say all you had was your fire steel and you'd lost your knife, didn't have a striker. There's virtually nowhere on the planet hardly that you can't be walking around and find a piece of glass. So I just wanted to show you this as a substitute, which if glass works, then we know that chert or obsidian or flint will work, because glass is silica, which is a stone. So pick up a piece of glass and hang on to it. You can see the sparks are every bit as good as when you use a piece of a steel striker. So that's just a little tip, that if you just happen to lose everything but you have your fire steel, if you can find a piece of glass or a piece of flint or chert or some hard surface substance that has a good angle on it, and that's the whole key. The way a fire steel works is a super thin shard is shaved off by whatever you have, and that friction of that and the heat that's generated causes it to burst into flames. So you can use anything that has a sharp edge. And the reason why most people think that stainless doesn't work is because almost every stainless steel knife is highly polished, and when you polish the whole blade, you end up sort of champering the top edge of the spine of the knife, the very back of it, so you never really have a 90-degree knife edge angle. Because I happen to have a case sodbuster that is completely unfinished on the back, and it's a sharp 90-degree, and that thing throws showers of sparks like there's no tomorrow. That's just a little tip. Thanks for watching. God bless.